So the War for Cybertron Siege trilogy premieres in about a week, and for the first time in my life, I'm actually paying for my own goddamn Netflix. That's how bad I want to see it come out already. And I've kind of loved what the War for Cybertron trilogy has done so far. Its focus on cross-compatibility and world building has been kind of awesome. One highly annoying way that Hasbro has been emphasizing the connectivity of these figures within their own environment is by releasing as many expensive 3-packs as is humanly possible. There's been more than one occasion where I feel like Hasbro was essentially holding me hostage to that you have to buy this $75 3-pack to get this one Power Dasher that you want. The Impactor 3-pack was one of the biggest bitch moves that Hasbro's ever pulled, because in order for me to get that stupid Power Dasher, I had to go buy a $60 3-pack with a Decepticon version of an Autobot I already had, and then a translucent version of an Autobot and a Decepticon repaint that I already have two of. What? The majority of these 3-packs have had some absolutely shit quality control from my experience with them. The Impactor that came in the 3-pack on my copy of the thing wound up having a broken ratchet joint in the hips. And the clear version of Mirage has already started to chip apart. What a shock. It's almost as if making something with translucent plastic is somehow a bad idea. One such figure I got from the fruits of my labor and this stupid amount of money is War for Cybertron Siege Deluxe Class Slamdance. This thing's an obscure red, white, and blue Autobot, which means it's automatically my jam. Get it? My jam? Because he transformed into a cassette tape back in the 1980s? Because there are so many people who know who the hell Slamdance is. This guy's a duocon, meaning that he has 2 vehicle modes for 1 robot mode. And in this particular case, he transforms into a mini jet and pants tank. The tank is relatively basic, with only 2 small rifles that plug into 5mm ports on the bottom of what will become his feet in robot mode. Even though this is the case, the guns are sculpted in a gorgeous shade of silver, and the rest of the tank mode has a really fantastic harsh red color scheme. Add the space airplane in there, and then you will have an example of extreme patriotism and extreme emptiness in the back of the vehicle mode. Yeah, I know Black Lives Matter complainer when it comes down to it, but I feel like they could have done more to hide the fact that he's just a pair of trousers folded up. Only Slamdance could wind up doing laundry just by frickin' transforming. As if you want to do something really stupid and cursed, you can slap on Battle Trap's pants instead because they're on the same connection point. Didn't say it was a good idea. The tank mode is so basic, you can just definitely tell it looks like a folded up pair of pants. Even though it has some extreme firepower, it's just an angry pants tank. As for the jet mode, it has the same problem as pretty much any other transformer that transforms into a jet. The arms visibly fold up from underneath the thing that makes it look like it's just a big chunk of plastic that has wings, I guess. But the shade of blue that this is goes really nicely together with the red tank. Sure, it doesn't have any spring-loaded stupidity where you slap it on a table and it springs into whatever this unholy abomination is, but I personally think that this figure is pretty fun. We discussed all there really is to discuss about the individual vehicle modes. They're very small drone vehicles that aren't the most fantastic things in the world, but the robot mode might be a different story, so let's take a look at his transformation. Slamdance's transformation is incredibly simple. He's a retool of Skytread, so if you have him, you pretty much know what you're doing. There are a couple of issues that I have with the transformation, including the laziness of the arms being stored underneath the jet mode silhouette. There have been issues people have reported with one of the legs completely disintegrating in the box, but mine hasn't had that issue. I've owned my copy for about 6 months, and I have transformed it a lot during this review. So, in all honesty, I think it might be that the paint is too thick on some people's figures, and people might just be ham-fisting the ankles. I can see why people think there'd be more ankle articulation on this thing, which we'll cover later on in our articulation segment. But in all honesty, I don't think they're all that bad. Talking about some of the sculpting and paint on this figure, I really do love this thing a lot more than Skytread. The yellow visor screams that early Diaclone energy that I'm looking for in just about every figure that I own. even though the color scheme has been completely reversed, given the fact he has a red tank with a blue jet instead of blue with red, I honestly don't really care all that much. Sure, it's not Generation 1 accurate, and sure, he's not the cassette combiner that he was originally, but in all honesty, I think this is a good modern update to Slamdance, albeit maybe somewhat lazy. There's one thing on this figure that isn't lazy, it's definitely the paint scheme. I love anything red, white, and blue that's a Transformer, and this definitely is no exception. I love how nicely and organically the jet blends into the red tank. They look so nicely locked together, and there's no gap or anything like that that's holding anything back. The only thing that is getting held back a little bit is the silhouette on the robot mode. You can definitely tell there's an airplane hanging off his butt, and it definitely does not look great. The tail fin of the airplane is hanging all the way down to his knees, and I don't necessarily like that very much. I don't mind kibble when it gives a figure personality, but when it starts hindering articulation, that's when it really starts to become kibble in my opinion. We've talked about the sculpting and paint, so how's his articulation? His head rotates 360, his shoulders rotate and move out, there's bicep bend and rotation, slight waist rotation but the backpack blocks it, universal hips, knee bend, and ankle tilt. All in all, the articulation is basic, but the plastic balance on this figure makes him really easy to animate with. It's very easy to do things like walk cycles or different poses with this figure. He's also a siege figure, which means that he's weaponizer compatible, so you can slap cog all over him. This is one of the main configurations that the instructions give you, and I can definitely say it looks really stinking cool on Slamdance, except for the shoes, which make it look like he's almost hovering off the top of the things. The 5mm ports mostly work, but the ones on the bottom of the feet are a little bit too tight for my taste, and I don't want to literally have the legs disintegrate on me. But all in all, I enjoy Slamdance a lot. He gives out that energy of extreme patriotism, and making him into a Duocon jet and tank was definitely a good move in my opinion. Sure, you can make him into a cassette tape for the sake of Generation 1 accuracy, but it doesn't make any sense doing it that way. Unfortunately, this figure can only be obtained through a 3-pack that includes a Generation 2 Sideswipe repaint and a Battlemaster Trenchfoot. I'll review these two figures individually as soon as I get a chance because I wanted to do this 3-pack justice. The Siege series premieres in exactly 6 days from the time I'm recording this, so in all honesty, I'm probably going to drop the review as the Siege series gets released. This has been the Stop Motion Reviewer with my review on Siege Slamdance. It's a fun figure that's deeply flawed and makes some sacrifices for the really cool robot mode, and most of the kibble on the airplane mode I feel could have been more prevented. It does have quality control problems with some people, so it's kind of a risk transforming a thing for some, but on my copy of the figure, I definitely think he's a fun, solid, neat Autobot that I enjoy transforming a lot. Even though one major step involves literally ripping the figure in half. Cliff Jumper gets away with it, so does he.